Today, we are ranking the top 10 most important players on the Colts for success in the 2025 season. We all know who number one is going to be, but who rounds out this top 10 list? Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you all for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. This is your daily podcast covering your Indianapolis Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of horseshoehuddle.com, and today we are going to go through a beautiful listicle breaking down the top 10 most important players on this Colts team when it comes to success for the 2025 season. So just a caveat to that, this is not just the top 10 best players on the team. This is, again, a list going through the 10 players that are most important for this team to have success and, get that end goal of making the playoffs this upcoming year. So we're going to be going through, it's going to be a little bit of positional value, a little bit of talent, and a little bit of, guys that need to break out and have big seasons. We're going to go through 1 through 3 to start off this show. So we're not doing 10 down to 1. We're doing the top of the list first, 1 through 3 to kick off the show. Then we're going to go through number 4 through 7 and then close it out with 8 through 10. So without further ado, let's talk about the number one player most important for the Colts this season when it comes to having success in 2025. And that is none other than quarterback Anthony Richardson. I think if you were to do this for all 32 teams in the NFL, the quarterback would be number one on every single list because this is such a quarterback-driven league. A lot of teams, they kind of live and die by what their quarterback's going to do. Like, yes, you can have talent on your team that can steal you a couple wins without your quarterback, but at the end of the day, if you want to be a playoff-type team, you need your quarterback to be a playoff-caliber quarterback, and the Colts just simply haven't had that since the Phillip Rivers season in 2020. And obviously before that, they had Andrew Luck in 2018 and prior. But they really have not had that high-level play from quarterback in a very long time. For a majority of the Chris Ballard era here in Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson's going into year 3. Through the first 2 seasons, he's been marred by injuries and inconsistencies. And, last year his play hit like a new low, especially early in the season. So yeah, he's the most important player, man. If the Colts want to make the playoffs this year, they need the best version of Anthony Richardson. They need him to live up to that top 5 pick billing. To a lesser degree, Daniel Jones kind of slides in there with him at number 1, but you guys know my thoughts on Daniel Jones. I'm not going to go too much into Daniel Jones here. But yes, whoever the quarterback is, I guess, is number 1 on this list. And honestly, they're both kind of sharing number 1 because, in my opinion, I think both players are going to start games for the Colts this upcoming season. So maybe it's a little bit of a cheat to put both players at number 1, but it really is Anthony Richardson and or Daniel Jones, whoever the heck the quarterback is for the Indianapolis Colts. That is the most important player on the team. So we're going to kind of gloss over that one a little bit because, again, it's a quarterback-driven league. You guys understand that. Where my list kind of gets a little controversial, I think, is at number 2. Now, for me, the most important positions in the NFL are your offensive tackles / your offensive line in general, your cornerbacks, and your pass rushers. Obviously, that's the way the NFL is going. We know that a lot of just this league is built around throwing the football, protecting the thrower, and pressuring the thrower on the other side of the ball. So for me, the second most important player on this Colts team is left tackle Bernhard Raimann. And it's not because Raimann is the second best player on this Colts roster. It's simply because that left tackle position is so big. The blind side of your quarterback, especially when we look at Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson's history of fumbles. Daniel Jones led the NFL in fumbles multiple times. Anthony Richardson has certainly had his issues with it as well. That blind side pass protector is a vital, vital piece to the puzzle. And the Colts really don't have like a key backup. Like if we're looking at like corner or pass rusher, the Colts have other guys who can step up and be adequate at those positions and hold down the fort to a degree. When we're looking at left tackle, it's either rookie Jalen Travis or Blake Freeland, who's going into his 3rd year, and every single time he's been on the field, it hasn't been very good. So if Bernhard Raimann struggles or deals with injuries this year, the drop-off is so vast that I do think that Bernhard Raimann is the Colts' second most important player coming into the season. He's up for a contract. after this season, and I expect him to get paid handsomely. He's been one of the top 10 to 15 left tackles in football for the last 2 seasons. Been a fantastic starter for the Colts. Very, very talented player at, again, arguably the second most important position on the team. And I expect his play to keep up this next season. So he did miss a little over a month last season due to injuries. I believe concussion was the big one in there. So hopefully he can stay healthy for this Colts team to get where they want to go. But Bernhard Raimann is who I have as the second most important player on this Colts team going into next year, just because of the sheer importance of left tackle. And also, factoring a little bit of the quality of his play as well. Like, he is a very good player. He would be a top 10 player if this was purely by talent on the roster. So Bernhard Raimann comes in at number 2 for me on the list on most important Colts players when it comes to them hitting their goals in 2025. And we go to number 3. I have another kind of hot take here. So again, you guys let me know in the comment section what you think of this hot take here. But this one is a bit of a projection, and it's more so me saying what this player needs to be if the Colts want to be a playoff team. But I'm actually going with Laiatu Latu at number 3. Like I said, to lead off the Bernhard Raimann thing here, I said that so much of the NFL is built around pressuring the quarterback and protecting the quarterback. Well, when it comes to pressuring the quarterback, they need their top 15 pick from 2024 to be that top 15 pick caliber player. They need him to take a huge step forward. I mean, when you're looking at what this defense desperately needs, they have DeForest Buckner, who's consistent interior rushing threat. They have Zaire Franklin, who's a turnover forcer at the second level. We can argue about his highs and lows of his play, but he can make some plays on the football. And they brought in some quality guys in the secondary. What they really need is an edge rusher to emerge this season, and they need it to be Laiatu Latu. They invested that top 15 pick in him for a reason. He had a pretty solid rookie season, but this next year it needs to be about finishing sacks. It needs to be about making those impact plays. And if he's able to do that, again, outside of Raimann and Richardson, I don't know if there's a more valuable player on this Colts team. If they can have a true impact player off the edge, I really think that value is just sky high for the team. So yeah, if the Colts want to be a playoff team this next season, obviously they need Richardson to step up and be the quarterback they drafted to be. They need Raimann to stay healthy and continue doing what he's doing. But honestly, third most important for me is just Laiatu Latu becoming the guy they drafted him to be. It's year 2 for him. He's going into his age 25 season. The time is now for Laiatu Latu to become that player the Colts drafted him to be. I fully think he's capable of doing it. He just needs to show it on the field. But really, that is one of the most important players. So you guys can let me know in the comment section below if I'm putting too much stock in positional value over talent there. Because obviously when we get through 4 through 7, we're going to be talking about the 4 highest paid players on the roster, aside from Quentin Nelson. So we are mixing in talent here, but I really think when you're looking at just the high end of what needs to happen for this Colts team to make the playoffs, I can't think of a more important development aside from Richardson than Laiatu Latu becoming that guy off the edge. They didn't draft him to become another Kwity Paye. They didn't draft him to become another Dayo Adengbo, who are good NFL starting caliber pass rushers. They drafted him that high to be that next level guy. That guy who was, he was that in college. They need him to be that in the NFL. So I'm not saying he needs to become Max Crosby all of a sudden this season, but there needs to be a big jump in play for this Colts team to make the playoffs, because if they don't get it, then their edge rusher group is really not complimenting DeForest Buckner, and I see some issues really coming up with that defense. So, yeah, at the end of the day, Laiatu Latu, I think, is one of the most important players for the Colts this upcoming season, and he needs to have a big year in year 2 for the Indianapolis Colts. But coming up, guys, that was 1 through 3 again. Anthony Richardson at number 1, Bernhard Raimann at number 2, and Laiatu Latu at number 3. We're going to dive into 4 through 7, the 4 through 7 most important players on the Colts roster when it comes to hitting their goals in 2025. But first, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's nothing better. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have had more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Guys, the Indiana Pacers are up 3-1 on the New York Knicks. They play tonight. Make sure you are supporting the local team. The Oklahoma City Thunder just closed out the Minnesota Timberwolves the other day with like a 40-point victory in Game 5. So if the Pacers can pull off the win here against the Knicks tonight or in any of the following 3 games, we can see the Indiana Pacers in the finals for the first time in 25 years, which would be awesome just for all of Indy and for the entire fan base. So make sure you're supporting your Pacers and putting your money where your mouth is with FanDuel.com. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Alrighty, Locked On Colts everydayers. I got my positional value players out of the way in that top 3, and those 3 players, again, talking about just who needs to have big seasons for this Colts team to make the playoffs. Anthony Richardson, Bernhardt, Ryman, Leatu, Latu are my numbers 1 through 3. But now when we look through 4 through 7, we're looking at the consistent players. We're looking at the players who we expect to have big seasons, and ultimately it's just the stars being stars, I guess, at this point when it comes through number 4 through 7. So going into number 4, obviously, again, pass rush is so vital to the NFL. So DeForest Buckner is my number 4 player for most important player on the Colts team. He's been playing at a Pro Bowl to all-pro level for his entire tenure with the Colts. Like, I know last year he dealt with injury, but he has just been a force to be reckoned with the Colts. A fantastic leader, one of the best players in the organization in recent memory, and just a fantastic football player. And I'm pretty confident in saying that he's going to be a very good football player again for the Colts this next season. It's all about him just maintaining his pace and maintaining his play. If he comes out and plays like DeForest Buckner next season, the Colts will have a better chance to win football games, obviously, just because he is that kind of force player for the team. And it goes in line again with our number 3 player, Leatu Latu. The Colts pass rush needs to have a big jump this next season. It can't all just be one player. So if Leatu Latu is hitting where we want him to hit, DeForest Buckner needs to be who DeForest Buckner has been the last 4 or 5 seasons with the team. So DeForest Buckner, there's not too much you can really say about him. Just an awesome football player, has been great. I want his run defense to maybe get up a little bit better this next season, but as a pass rusher, he's a consistent performer, and he's just a dominant player for the Colts. So DeForest Buckner, number 4, purely out of his own dominance and also at a position of need as a pass rusher and interior player. Fantastic football player for the Colts, and I expect him to have a big season. Going to number 5, though, we're talking about another veteran here, but this is a new addition veteran, and that is cornerback Charvarius Ward. We're on a little bit of run of defenders here in my top 10 most important Colts, but when it comes to Charvarius Ward, this was the big addition of the offseason. The Colts getting a number 1 cornerback in to play on their defense under Lou Anarumo. The Colts have already said that Ward is going to travel with number 1 wide receivers, which is massive, and that just bumps his value up even more, because if you look at where the Colts really struggled these past couple seasons, it really is, whenever they go against these teams that have just a number 1 alpha wide receiver, they have struggled in recent memory. I mean, you look at Nico Collins and all the big games he's had against the Colts. You look at Justin Jefferson having a massive game last season against the team. I can certainly go through more. I mean, Calvin Ridley had a couple long touchdowns against the Colts, and he's not even that kind of guy compared to guys like Collins and Jefferson, obviously. So, yeah, the Colts have needed this number 1 corner for a long time. I don't even think, in the last 20, 25 years outside of Vontae Davis, they've had that caliber of guy here with the Colts. So getting a guy like Ward, who not only has the athleticism and the experience to be that player who's capable of traveling with number 1 receivers, but also has the playmaking ability, the tenacity, the physicality, the pedigree. He's been to a Super Bowl as well. Like, this is a guy who I think the Colts have needed for a long time, especially now that they have Lou Anarumo's system coming in. That's going to be more man coverage. It's going to be more diversity of coverages. They have needed this number 1 corner for a long time. And I think a lot of what their defense is going to do this year, I mean, obviously, again, it's going to come down to their pass rush, but outside of that, it comes down to what kind of Charvarius Ward they're getting. If they're getting him from his prime years of how he played with the 49ers, this Colts defense could be really darn good this next season with Anarumo. But if they do get, more of last season where his plays took a step back due to the injuries and unfortunately, the personal tragedy that he went through, then this defense could struggle quite a bit. So a lot of it's going to go as far as Charvarius Ward takes them. I expect big things from him because I do think he is a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. And I think the Colts, paid the right money for him to get him in here. So Charvarius Ward's super important to the Colts' success this next season. And I'm not going to say that they're trying to hope on him single-handedly changing the entire defense, but a lot of what this defense is going to do this next season hinges on Charvarius Ward being the guy they're paying him to be. And I fully expect him to hit that. So yeah, Charvarius Ward comes in at number 5 on my top 10 most important Colts players when it comes to success in the 2025 season. We're switching back over to offense now at number 6, and this is running back Jonathan Taylor. A lot of people, again, when I'm talking about the early part of this list, it was all about positional value, passer, protect passer, rush passer. Now we're going to running back, which is like the most hated position when it comes to positional value. But when it comes to this Colts team, they're in a unique situation where, they want to be a run-first football team. They want to be a ground-and-pound type team. And they really have to be because of the inconsistencies at quarterback over the past couple of years. So a player like Jonathan Taylor becomes so vital to the operation of this team because they want to have that identity of being a top 5 rushing team in the NFL. So Taylor is just a vital piece of the puzzle this next season. They need him to be all-pro caliber Jonathan Taylor like we saw this past season. I would argue that he was a top 5 running back in the NFL last year. I think he was, by all accounts, that good of a player, had a really strong final month of the year that pushed himself into that top 5 category yet again. And it's all about just continuing that play. Taylor has been really, really good under Shane Steichen whenever he's been on the football field. So that's really just the big key, is keeping him healthy, keeping him involved, letting him do Jonathan Taylor things, which is just running the football at a very, very high level. And just getting this thing rolling. I think that there's going to be even more opportunities for him this next season because, when their backup has to come in recent years with Minshew and Flacco, it has been a pocket passer, a guy that doesn't really influence the defense too much. Now, if Daniel Jones has to step in, they have a quarterback that at least will make defenses second guess a little bit. So I think that'll be big for Taylor just to keep that consistency at quarterback, like stylistically. And I also think the move to Matt Gonsalves at right guard could be a big boost to the running game as well. I think Gonsalves showed some really good things last season, and I think that he could be even an upgrade maybe in the run game, especially from what they were getting from like Dalton Tucker from that 7-week stretch that he was in there. So Jonathan Taylor comes in at number 6 on my most important Colts list of this 2025 season. Now, getting to number 7 on the list is going to a player that needs to have a bounce back season this upcoming year, and that is wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Last year, Pittman Jr. took a step back in play. Now, obviously, the big caveat to that is he was really hurt. He was really hurt. It was announced that he was going to go on season-ending, or not. I guess it wasn't season-ending, but it was like long-term injured reserve in like week 4 or 5. Adam Schefter reported that. Then he didn't miss any time really with that back injury. I think the only game he missed was the Buffalo Bills game. So we saw 16 games out of a guy who, for a good 11, 12 weeks of that, he had a back that was bad enough to where it could have shut him down for a majority of the season. He ended up playing through it. I'm not here to say if it was the right or the wrong decision. I don't know how much it really influenced the Colts winning games. But I do want to say that he's capable of much more. We've seen him capable of much more, obviously, with the Colts, and hopefully, getting that back fixed up this offseason, getting him ready for play yet again in 2025, that'll just be vital, because getting your number 1 wide receiver back to playing like a number 1 wide receiver is vital for the operations of the Colts. So, obviously his stats will only go as far as the quarterbacks will take him. But getting a healthy Michael Pittman Jr. back will be big when it comes to influencing wins and losses this next season. So, again, we're looking at positional value here. Obviously, when it comes to influencing the wins, having your number 1 wide receiver is a vital part of everything on offense, but especially getting him healthy. Just getting him healthy and back on the field, I think is good enough to maybe steal the Colts an extra win, just because he's shown that in the past. I mean, he nearly stole that Cleveland Browns game 2 years ago before the refs took it back away from the Colts. Not still salty about that, but I guess it's still what it is. But yeah, Michael Pittman Jr. is capable of winning some games with the Colts. He's done it in the past, and just getting him healthy is so vital to the operations of the Colts offense. But that is the list so far, guys. We have Anthony Richardson at number 1, We have Bernhardt Ryman at number 2, Leatu Latu at number 3, DeForest Buckner at number 4, Tarvarius Ward at number 5, Jonathan Taylor at number 6, and Michael Pittman Jr. at number 7. So coming up, we're going to close out this top 10 list of the top 10 most important Colts for success in 2025. We're going to finish it out with a couple of new faces, but typical guys that have been here for quite a bit. Alrighty, Locked On Colts Everydayers, we are back with our top 10 most important Colts of the 2025 season when it comes to them hitting their goals and having success. I know I've changed that up quite a few times in this recording so far. So having success, which means hitting their goals, that's what we'll go with here to close out the show. But number 8, I'm going with the Colts' highest draft pick in this past class, and that is tight end Tyler Warren. And maybe this is an overcorrection because tight end was such a sore spot on the team the last couple of seasons. I mean, we all saw what it looked like when they tried to throw the ball to Kylan Granson, Mo Alley-Cox, Drew Ogletree the last few years. It just hasn't been good, which led to the Colts obviously investing that high pick in a player like Tyler Warren. But I also think just because Warren fits so much of what this Colts offense needs and what they really thrive at doing in terms of they ask their blockers to be very athletic in the running game. I think that's where Tyler Warren thrives, is being an athlete in the running game, out in space, and getting on the move. So I think he's going to be such a big asset as a run blocker. I mean, I don't want to say Jack Doyle level impact in the run game, but I do think it can get there with some proper development and proper time. And then as a pass catcher, I mean, look, the Colts just haven't had a guy who can even catch the football at tight end the last couple of years. And when they did, maybe Mo Alley-Cox had decent hands compared to the other guys in the room. It's not like he could get open. I mean, Mo is Mo. He's very slow. He's a run blocker. And he just isn't that kind of guy, where the other guys just couldn't catch the football when it was thrown their way. So getting a guy at tight end who is a pass catching weapon, who is an asset in the running game, and helps the Colts kind of disguise what they want to do, just in terms of we can be an 11 personnel a little bit more. We can not rotate tight ends and give away tells on if we're throwing or running here. I just think that's going to be so valuable for what the Colts offense is that, yeah, maybe I am overvaluing Tyler Warren just a little bit, but even if he's not even catching 10 balls a game, just the impact of having one guy out there who's capable of playing football, I think just makes this offense better. So again, when we're talking about production at tight end or just production in general for pass catchers, it all will go as far as the quarterback will take them. But I think Tyler Warren's going to be such a big asset in both the run and the passing game that I'm comfortable putting him at number 8. And I think he's going to be a pretty darn good player for the Colts this upcoming season and for the near and distant future. At number 9, we're going with an all-pro player that needs to bounce back. That's crazy to somehow say, but all-pro linebacker Zaire Franklin did not have his best season last year. I think even he would say that, just in terms of, the tackling consistency and some of the, the low points on his film. I think he could say that he could even be better there when it comes to those things, but it's not like he had a bad season last year. I just think he's capable of much more. And I do think the system with Louis Anarumo does fit him pretty well, just in terms of, being that Jermaine Pratt level role and that Jermaine Pratt capable player. Now, again, it comes with the caveat that he needs to be a better tackler this season, especially with his tackling consistency, and just be, take another step forward in his game. But last year, Zaire Franklin was fantastic at forcing turnovers, being a playmaker on a defense that just didn't have many playmakers. I mean, he led the defense in 6 takeaways. The next closest was Nick Cross with 4. And then I don't think anyone else even hit 4 on this defense. I think it was just him and Cross were the only guys above 4. So in a defense that has really lacked playmakers in general since the downfall of Shaquille Leonard, Zaire Franklin's kind of taken that role and become a guy who can, he had 2 interceptions last year. He had 4 forced fumbles. He kind of just became that guy for this team. And then you throw in some high-level plays too, like the 4th down stop against the Pittsburgh Steelers with Justin Fields and several other big-time plays. Yes, he can be more consistent, but I do think Zaire Franklin has proven to be one of the few playmakers on defense that just didn't have many playmakers last season. And I think, again, his game can take a step forward under Louis Anarumo. So Zaire Franklin, all-pro player, maybe not all-pro caliber in typical years, but I think he's capable of putting the stat line together and putting together the strong play to be a major asset on this defense. And again, we're talking about Tarvarius Ward, DeForest Buckner, Leatu Latu, those guys hitting high-end seasons. will really say how far this team can go. But also just Zaire Franklin improving on the tackling and just doing what he was doing as a playmaker last year, that's going to impact wins and losses. I mean, again, taking the football away is extremely valuable. It's what we all loved about Shaquille Leonard. And honestly, Zaire Franklin had a very Shaquille Leonard type of season last year in terms of his ability to take the ball away. So if he can just bring that back this next season and clean up the tackling a little bit, then I think a lot of the fan opinion of him will change, or at least, get more positive yet again when it comes to Zaire Franklin. So Zaire Franklin's my number 9 on most important Colts. Again, not the most loved in Colts fan base right now, but had an all-pro season last year, and I think he is one of the better players on the team. If we're going off of pure talent, he probably would still make my top 10 as well. To close out this list, we're going with yet another pass catcher, which might be dangerous on my part just because, again, these guys go as far as the quarterback play, and the quarterback play is so scary right now for the Colts. But I got Josh Downs at number 10. When it comes to Josh Downs, we talked about it a lot last year, especially when he missed those first 2 games last year. He's just the pace setter on the offense. He's the guy where if you need a short third down conversion, that you can go throw it to Josh Downs and get that easy first down. I mean, we call them first downs for a reason. If you need a guy on 1st and 10 that can get it to a 2nd and 6 or a 2nd and 3, Josh Downs is your guy. I think he can even be a pretty good red zone weapon as well because of his ability to separate in the short and intermediate games. So, yeah, Josh Downs is so vital to the Colts operation because if he's not playing, the Colts get into a lot more 3rd and 10 plus looks that obviously you want to avoid when you have the question marks that they have at quarterback. So they can get into 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4 looks even with who they have at running back. And then with the rushing threat of Anthony Richardson at quarterback, that's a lot more manageable, obviously for any team, but especially for this team because you open up the threat of the running game again and you make life easy. So Josh Downs is arguably the most important player in the passing game just from that standpoint of getting them into manageable situations. And then you add in his ability to separate on those manageable situations or even his ability to create after the catch. And we saw plenty of times on 3rd and 8s even, or like 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9s, whatever, they throw it short of the sticks. He's able to make one quick move, get upfield and get that first down. So for me, that's that value that he brings, the hidden yardage, the ability to keep the Colts in plus situations. And then you add in just his ability on 3rd downs and in the red zone. I think Josh Downs is so immensely valuable to this team and it's hard to overlook him. So it is kind of crazy. I left off like the Colts like best receiver last year and I put in like three pass catchers and Downs, Warren and Pittman Jr. But Alec Pierce is going to be Alec Pierce. He's going to be that vertical guy. Josh Downs keeps the offense in rhythm. Michael Pittman Jr. is their number 1 guy. And Tyler Warren adds that run game, pass game threat that you're really looking for. So that's my list here. That's my top 10 most important Colts here. You guys can argue with me in the comments or put your own list in there. But to go through it again, number 1, Anthony Richardson. Number 2, Bernhard Raimann. Number 3, Laiatu Latu. Number 4, DeForest Buckner. Number 5, Travarius Ward. Number 6, Jonathan Taylor. Number 7, Michael Pittman Jr. Number 8, Tyler Warren. Number 9, Zaire Franklin. And number 10, Josh Downs. Guys who just missed the list, obviously, your Grover Stewart's purely off of talent. Cameron Bynum off the talent and what he could bring at free safety. I do think that would probably be my number 11. If I went past number 10, I think Cameron Bynum is just it's going to be super vital to this team. Nick Cross also another one on here, Kwity Paye, and then Alec Pierce as well, who I think is a very good player. And then the offensive line, you could basically put them all in there with Bernhard Raimann. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Those are my top 10 most important Colts players for success, aka where they want to go in 2025. Thank you guys for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every day. Now, for your second listen, check out Locked On NFL Scouting. The NFL draft is over, but the roster moves and news never stop. Host Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino will make you the most informed NFL fan this offseason. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. You guys want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get that insider scoop? Follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, make sure you're following at Locked On Colts, at JGarthurNFL, and at ZachHicks2, all on Twitter. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We love your guys' ratings, reviews, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow afternoon as Jake breaks down what he saw in OTAs.